It's time for Up Close and Musical, featuring interviews and music from top indie musicians from the Maclyr music community. Here's your host, Mannon Maclyr.
Welcome to Up Close and Musical. I'm Mannon Maclyr, and we have with us on the line right now from Edmonton, Alberta, Ashley from the band Ashley's Rejekts. How are you tonight, Ashley?
I'm great, Mannon. I just finished up one job and now I'm on to my other passion. I've also got my right-hand bandman, Paul, with me, and my guitarist as well, Rob. How are you doing tonight?
Perfect. Excellent, thanks. Maybe we can start off letting our listeners know a little bit about yourself and the band and your music.
Okay. Well, my name is Ashley Sarty, and I was born and raised on the Alberta prairies. I sing for Ashley's Rejekts. I'm also a part-time hairstylist and a full-time mom of 3 boys. Our band called Central Alberta home. We're all from kind of small towns around. My passion for music and art started quite early. Music, as for everyone, I'm sure, is such a big part of everyday life. But before the band, you could find me at all the open jams, trying to work my way closer to people with instruments that wanted to play just so I could sing. I've always loved singing, but I lacked the confidence before I had the bandmates ask me to join the band. And it was only going to be a hobby, but it kind of took on a life of its own. So we're here, making the most of it now.
Well, that's a wonderful story. How long have you all been performing together as Ashley's Rejekts?
We've been together for almost 5 years now.
Wow, great. How would you describe your music, say in regards to like a genre or something like that?
I would say we kind of fit into that like alternative hard rock genre, though we like to play around a bit.
Great. Do you remember what the first tune was that you performed as a band together in front of a live audience?
I would say it was either Janis Joplin's Mercedes-Benz that I would have sung, kind of a cappella style for the band, and then with the band would be Zombies by Cranberries.
Good
One of the
choices.
all-time favorites.
Oh, for sure. Ashley, are there any well-known musicians have inspired you or the bandmates along your journey?
Definitely, I'd say Janis Joplin, Joan Jett, Dolores O'Riordan, and Pretty Reckless's Taylor Momsen. Love that stuff that's coming out now.
Do you yourself personally have a favorite musical memory that you might want to share with us?
One of our favorite funny moments that we had that comes to mind was a couple of years ago. I got a phone call before a sound check from the local bar manager that we were going to play at that night. She had said that there might be an old crotchety fella in the bar during the sound check. So I'm not even...
It wasn't me.
I don't even know if I warned the others about the warning that I had got. But anyways, in the middle of our sound check, this chair come flying out of nowhere. It's like the middle of the afternoon, and this 5'0" nothing hunched over old fella was like connected to an oxygen tank, was raging that our music was too loud, which everybody else seemed to be enjoying it. So it was kind of funny, and we had a great night anyways, later on, and we joke about it now as if, it's not a real party until the old guy throws a chair.
That's awesome. Well, you've been together 5 years, so maybe looking back to the beginning when you guys were all just starting out, is there anything maybe you wish you had done differently? Like knowing what you know now.
Looking back, sure, there's some things I do differently, like maybe how to build the fan base and advertising, marketing, social media stuff, especially for how big it is now. But I also look at it like we weren't quite ready. I think unless you want to be a one-hit wonder, this stuff takes time. We had to find the right crew of people, the right people to play with, and we had to make mistakes to learn from them. We have a better handle now on who we are and what genre we want to be playing in, and we've had a lot of time to be able to write the music we want to write and rewrite some of that music. So had we had maybe all his knowledge back then, I don't think we were ready to apply it to what we're doing now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, as you know, you don't really make it till the old guy throws
That's
a
right.
chair. Well, Ashley, at this time, we're going to leave you guys just for a little bit to spin up your first song. And from what I understand, this is a brand new release for you
Yes.
all. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that song. Is there a story behind it? Or
Our brand new release is called Lick the Boots, and I actually just gave Paul a title, which was Lick the Boots, and I had nothing else for him other than a title of a song. So he actually came up with the lyrics, and it just was a hit right from the get-go.
Fantastic. Good job, Paul. So while we're honored, Ashley, that you all have chosen our show and our listeners to be the first to hear it. So here's Ashley's Rejekts with their first song and new release of the interview, Lick the Boots.
That you want, well, it's the pain you're gonna get in the sweet, sweet setting sun. This love is not for fun. Handcuff you down and throw away the key. This was never for you. This was all for me.
And we're back on the line with Ashley from Ashley's Rejekts. Awesome tune. So maybe you can tell our listeners, do you currently have any upcoming shows or live performances? What's in the works for Ashley's
As
Rejekts?
of right now, we have a show in Edmonton on April 20th at the Rendezvous Pub with Wake Up City and Stuck on 11. And so that show's in April. And then in the end of May of the 26th, we're actually hosting a song release bash at the Crossing in Red Deer, Alberta, that is going to be releasing the song Lick the Boots to the public, to everybody.
Nice. How often does the band practice?
We're practicing about once or twice a week, well, as much as we can when we don't get the blizzard coming through Alberta. But yeah,
Yeah, I understand it's still winter there.
yeah, it's once or twice a week we try. And we've got a drummer that actually lives about an hour away from the rest of us. So she's got to take the time, get through some of them storms to get to us to do the jams.
Wow. How can our listeners gain access to your music online?
We do have right now Shameless, that is on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, and most of the other digital distributors that you have out there.
Perfect.
And then hopefully at the end of May we'll have, at the end of May we'll have Boots, Lick the Boots, that'll be released. So
Awesome. Is there anything in particular you especially like about being indie musicians?
I like being indie because it's like we're playing by our own rules. It's our art, and we're learning and we're rocking out to the way we want to do it.
Is there any advice that you could share, Ashley, with today's indie artists, maybe just starting out on their own musical journeys?
I think the best thing I did was educate myself with an online course for musicians. The music industry has changed a lot, and you don't have to build your fans organically anymore. Being out in the bars and, making pennies, you can really get out there on a lot of the social media platforms. And there's a lot of tools out there that you can get the music in front of the right people. So targeting your audience, figuring out what your genre is, and really, putting it to that and sticking and focusing to that plan, I think has made a big difference for us. And I'm realizing too, just have fun with it too.
Both sides to it, right?
Yes.
There's a business side, and then you got to have fun and love what you're doing. That's for sure.
Exactly. And once it becomes a job, it's, it takes all the fun out of it. And people, I think, can tell.
I agree, 100%. Now, Ashley, when you write and compose your music, where do you get your inspiration from?
I think a lot of our inspirations come from like past experiences and the music that we love to listen to, and like learning to experiment and have fun a little bit more with the music now, doing something a little bit different and pulling from different inspirations. We've got some people in the band that love, like 80s, metal, or, that love, a little bit more of the newer rock. So trying to pull all those little things together and make something that's our own niche to alternative hard rock.
Now, just for a little fun and a little off the topic of music, if you were granted a superpower for just one day, what would it be?
I think if I was granted a superpower for one day, I'd want it to be some type of control over time, so that I could pause or speed up life when things get crazy, or slow down when life's good, or peek into the future maybe.
Yeah, they're all goods. Now I understand Paul and Rob are with you. Do they want to jump in on this, each with their own superpower?
Do you guys have a superpower that you want to chime in on if you were granted a superpower for a day?
I would like the power to be invisible for one day. It'd be pretty sneaky.
Okay, that's awesome. So Ashley, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners this evening?
I guess a little bit about the song Shameless that is on our iTunes and Spotify that we had released a song back in August. It is called Shameless, and it's kind of about teen love and running away and independence, and it's got a little bit of a surf rock punk feel. So we've kind of went from this, a little bit of a bouncy rock feel with our first release, where our next release for Lick the Boots is a little bit more of a hard rock, a little bit more kind of rock in your face kind of sound. Dirty.
Dirty song.
Yes.
All right. Well, Ashley, thank you for being a guest on our show. We're going to leave off our interview with your last song, Shameless. And it's been a real pleasure chatting with you all this evening. Thanks for being a guest on Up Close
Thank
and
you.
Musical. You're awesome.
Thank you for having us, for sure.
So without further ado, here is Ashley's Rejekts with their song, Shameless.
Ocean wind blowing your hair, white sand upon your skin. Teen love's a game of death, when truth is all you're asking. So shameless, well I'm down for the chase, and I'm so shameless. Jump in and we'll run far, far away. She grabbed my hand and led me astray. We smoked down at the corner store, 69 Thunderbird Ray. Pass the bottle and send it more. Ripped jeans and misfit shirts, breathe in the hot summer air. Fast love changes her. We'll forget that life isn't fair. So shameless, well I'm down for the chase, and I'm so shameless. Jump in and we'll run far, far away. Packed up our bags and headed southward. Distant lights may make the sky. Can't believe we're getting out. Our adventure starts tonight. Grab my hand and close your eyes. Trust me, I know it's hard, 'cause we're all outrageous and shameless. So shameless, well I'm down for the chase, and I'm so shameless. Jump in and we'll run far, far away.
You've been listening to Up Close and Musical. Join us next week as we discover more amazing music from top indie musicians from the Maclyr music community, right here on Montreal's Rock Station, CJIM.